this is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. The end of the regular season is near, and teams on the bubble start to feel the playoff crunch. Trucks and Cup Series will be ready and geared up for one of NASCAR's classic tracks in Richmond Raceway, where many of the sport's legends have made a name for themselves throughout the years. 2 races left in the regular season for the trucks and 3 remaining for the Cup Series regular season. So much action and content to cover. We have 2 episodes this week. In this one, we'll cover all the Truck Series action from Richmond. Would Layne Riggs be ready for back-to-back wins? Or would it be Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, Kaden Honeycutt breaking through? Plus, discussions with Dave, NASCAR History Time, Paint Scheme of the Week, interview with O'Reilly Series driver Parker Retzlaff, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. This episode is going to come out later in the week, but today is Tuesday, August 18th, 8/18. We take a second, like we have been doing this year, and we'll do in years to come, is to honor and remember Kyle Busch. Moving forward, 8/18 will be Kyle Busch Day as we continue to honor and remember the legacy of Rowdy Busch. Rest in peace, Kyle. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the Truck Series recap from Richmond. Truck Series would be ready to go Friday night in Richmond, but Mother Nature would have other plans. It would rain Friday night, and they would run Saturday green flag shortly after noon. Qualifying, SVG would win the pole. Him and Kaden Honeycutt bring the field to green. Shane would elect for the outside lane for the start of the race. Honeycutt gets the launch, a good one, from the inside and takes the lead. Entire first stage stays green, and Kaden cruises to the Stage 1 win. Honeycutt and Van Gisbergen restart for the second stage. Again, Honeycutt to the lead, and just like the first stage, the middle stage would stay green. Layne Riggs would get up to second, but it would not be enough to catch the 11. Honeycutt wins Stage 2. Would anybody be able to stop him? Again, Kaden Honeycutt to the lead after Grant Infinger and him restart for the final stage. Only yellow for incident in the race will fly on lap 216 as Stuart Friesen hits the wall while in 18th. Enfinger and Honeycutt restart with just 27 to go, and just like he's been all day, perfect, and Kaden Honeycutt wins in dominating fashion out in Richmond. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, who won the first Truck Series race at Richmond on September 7th, 1995? Answer at the end. Quick look back at the predictions we made for Richmond for the Truck Series. I went with Layne Riggs. He brings it back 15th. He has a brake issue after running second. Yellow flag, green flag for the trucks. Truck Series yellow. I mentioned it in the recap. The only yellow flag for incident is when Stuart Friesen hits the wall while running 18th. Friesen ends up finishing last in 36th. Stuart, coming into Richmond, was one of the bubble drivers for making the chase to playoffs. This does not help him, obviously. Stuart's really going to need to throw one down in New Hampshire. Truck Series, 2 green flags. First, the Shane Van Gisbergen. He wins the pole, ends up finishing 4th. Then, to a teenager. Yes, Tristan McKee, 16 years old, makes his Truck Series debut, and guess where he finishes? In the top 10. Finishes 8th. Now for discussions with Dave. First, we start off with the guy, just mention his name. He won the poll, Shane Van Gisbergen, looking strong onto a top 5 finish, finishes 4th. I'm still not sure why he chose to start on the outside lane to start the race. And then Honeycutt gets the inside, gets a run, and rockets out. Yeah, sometimes on the short track, the outside lane is the preferable lane, but to start the race on colder tires might have not been the best idea, but Honeycutt was just unbeatable. I don't think Shane had the car to compete for the win, just the way that Kaden dominated. Nonetheless, Shane still top 5 truck. That was a fast truck. Definitely a realistic finish with, the practice and qualifying, and finishing P4, the guys in front of him. That's, for oval racing, that's solid for Shane. And as we have said several months with Shane's, at the cup level, the oval performance has been better for sure. He's running in the top 5 sometimes, getting stage points, finishing in the top 10 in ovals in a cup car. And I have said, and I still believe this, Shane Van Gisbergen is going to win a race on an oval at some point in his Cup Series career. How close is he to that? I would be surprised, not shocked, if Shane were to win on an oval the rest of this year or even next year. I think that 2 to 3 season mark where, and in the meantime, I think Shane still will, have a race where he can even contend for a win. And like I said, I would be surprised. I would not be shocked if he win an oval the rest of this year or next year. I think 2028, 2029, I think that's when we see Van Gisbergen maybe rattle off 2 or 3 oval wins and contend for a championship. If there's a road course, it's not in the playoffs this year, but in seasons to come, if there's a road course race in the playoffs, that's 1,000% a huge opportunity race for Shane Van Gisbergen in a championship run, if he's in that situation, right? Moving right along, more talk about the Truck Series race. Corey Heim in the 11 truck wins last year, 2025. Kaden Honeycutt does it in dominant fashion this time. From green flag to checkered, he was leading that thing. Layne Riggs and even Corey Heim, driving the 5 for Tricon this go around, were in second place and just could not even really get a sniff of making that pass of Kaden Honeycutt. And as we know in racing, it goes in waves, right? But what does that 11 team know that everyone doesn't know about Richmond? Because they've brought a rocket ship the last 2 years out to Virginia. And for Honeycutt, this is a great time to get a win, springboard right into the playoffs and bring that momentum right into Darlington as the playoff starts. We are mentioning his name in the Truck Series. Tristan McKee makes history. He turned 16 a couple weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks ago. Tristan McKee is the second youngest driver to make a start in the Truck Series, being 16 years old and 11 days. Casey Atwood still holds the record of being the youngest, 16 years old and just 6 days. And of course, with the Truck Series schedule and your birthday, Richmond would be the closest race that McKee would have been able to run, as he was not 16 years old when they ran 3 weeks ago at IRP. McKee, as we know, has signed a development deal with Spire Motorsports. Right now, they got 3 Cup Series seats. Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar, each of those guys have gotten a Cup Series win this year. I foresee both of those guys being with Spire long term. Michael McDowell in their 71 car. Up and down seasons for him since joining Spire Motorsports. The veteran, still a presence, of course, in that garage. still 2021 Daytona 500 champ in McDowell. There's been rumors that, McDowell has said that he will drive that 71 until McKee is ready. But that shows you how much support that McKee has at Spire Motorsports. Would assume the next step for him would be running more of a Truck Series schedule. He can't run anything over a mile until he turns 18. So it's only a matter of time until we see more McKee. Moving right along, silly season news on the Cup Series side. When talking about his free agency, Noah Gragson, as of, 2 months, 6 weeks, I did not think Noah was going to be returning to Front Row Motorsports. And Front Row came out and said, no, we really want Noah back this season. It's been a tough one for him, and he's in the 30s for points, not where he wants to be, of course, and contending to get into the chase, which is realistic for Front Row Motorsports. I don't see why not. Then, probably a month, 6 weeks ago, the higher-ups of Front Row said, hey, we are really pursuing to bring Noah back for 2027 and even farther. Noah's name was linked to Richard Childress, their second Cup car, and some other teams. And just the way the racing had been going for Gragson this year, I just didn't see why Front Row would bring him back. Nonetheless, Front Row Motorsports has announced this week that Noah Gragson will return to drive their number 4 Ford entry in the Cup Series. A big thing in the Cup Series is seat time and building continuity with a group, improving your notebooks. So bringing back a driver that has been with them for several years, I understand you're already ahead of that starting point, right? And with Noah still being such a fan favorite and the sponsors he brings, does make sense. But then that really leads me to the question, the thought came in my head, did Noah just couldn't find a better Cup Series seat for 2027? I sure think so. Food for thought. Last topic on discussions with Dave, part 1 for this one. What happened to the Kaulig Racing 25 All-Star Truck Series seat? Been excited for a new manufacturer to get into the sport. Ram, as we know, makes its return back into NASCAR, starting with the Truck Series, regularly bringing 5 Ram F-150s to the truck. They're partnered with Kaulig Racing, who brings those entries and runs them, right? Kaulig has 4 full-time entries: Butterbean Queen, Justin Haley, Corey LaJoy, of course, Minnie Tyrell. But they also have a 5th truck that runs full-time, but it's a rotation of drivers and veteran drivers to the sport. There's been a mix of them. Tony Stewart in Daytona, Ty Dillon, Colin Braun, Jamie McMurray, and most recently Elliott Sadler and others before. I have said this, I think it's great. I love being in Daytona, seeing Smoke, Tony Stewart, get behind the truck and how serious he was. And then you have road course names like Colin Braun run at St. Petersburg and finish in the top 10. Then you have Parker Kligerman running at Texas, AJ Allmendinger back in the Truck Series. Heck, they brought Clint Boyer, Travis Pastrana, Jamie McMurray, and then, as I said, most recently, Elliott Sadler, veteran names in the sport. So awesome as a fan to see them behind the wheel. And yes, I mentioned the top 10s that this car has gotten. All the top 10s that the 25 car has gotten has been on road courses. Colin Braun, St. Petersburg, 9th. AJ Allmendinger, 6th at Watkins Glen. Colin Braun was behind the wheel at Lime Rock and got 10th. The best finish of the season has been 6th, as I mentioned, with AJ Allmendinger. Of course, bringing a new manufacturer, Kaulig was running O'Reilly Series full-time with their cup entries. They were not a Truck Series team, so there's a learning curve, and bringing the power that they need to back that up with Ram, they're still putting the pieces together. And CEO from Colleague Racing, Chris Rice, has been vocal of that, talked about the struggles. And right now, the top of their 4 full-time cars in the point standings is Brendan Queen, Butterbean, 13th. I know Ram's goal was to get at least one of those trucks into the chase. Looks like they'll fall short there. I hope that Colleague and Ram continues to do the All-Star seat for next year and the following years to come, and see one of these veterans of the sport compete for a win would be awesome. But I get that there's growing pains, and the 25 is probably, kind of the stepchild when you got 4 full-time teams and you're trying to, gain momentum and gain traction. Still think it's only a matter of time before Ram will nab one of these Truck Series wins, and I think that will happen in 2027. And that wraps up Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Now for our breakdown of the Truck Series standings after Richmond. As we know, New Hampshire this upcoming weekend will be the regular season finale for the Truck Series. Let's get into it. For the Truck Series, into their chase, 10 drivers are eligible once the regular season ends next race in New Hampshire. Playoffs start for them a couple weekends after that in Darlington. Right now, there are 6 drivers currently already locked in. Top of the food chain, Layne Riggs, followed by Kaden Honeycutt, Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, Giovanni Ruggiero, Ty Majeski. All 6 of them are locked already into the playoffs. No surprises between those 6. Maybe the biggest surprise is Ruggiero, but that's just being picky. He's also in that great Tricon equipment. Then from 7 to 10, Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick. The last guy in right now is Tyler Ankrum. Then the outside looking in, 20 points behind Ankrum, Stuart Friesen, Jake Garcia. 13th would be Butterbean Queen, then Andres Perez de Laura. With the way the points are and there's no more winning you're in, I do think Enfinger and Rhodes are good the way they sit. The only 2 I really think could flip-flop are Tyler Ankrum and Stuart Friesen. As mentioned, Friesen is only 20 points behind Ankrum, and 20 points is still a lot. 10 points to win the stage. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Stuart after he wrecked in Richmond. Brendan Butterbean Queen, Jake Garcia, just really too much of a hole. They would need to overcome each over a 40-point differential, and even more for Queen. Tyler Ankrum would really need to run into issues early in New Hampshire if one of them would want to sneak in. So, standing-wise, going into New Hampshire, I think 1 through 9, as I mentioned, are good. Who's going to get that final spot? Is it going to be Tyler Ankrum, who was in the Final 4 last year? Or is it going to be Stuart Friesen? Excited for New Hampshire to tell that story. And now for my Truck Series power rankings going into the regular season finale in New Hampshire. And also, this group of 10 is the group of 10 truck drivers I believe will make up the chase. Number 1, the guy first in the standings, road course, short track, intermediate. He's won it all this year in the Truck Series. He's got a lot of momentum. Nonetheless, the guy in second is trying to chase his bumper, and that's Kaden Honeycutt, who just won in Richmond. Honeycutt, in all honesty, yes, he's second in the standings. He only has 2 career Truck Series wins, and they've both happened this year. Yes, he's in that same Tricon 11 truck that Corey Heim has been so dominant the past 2 truck seasons, and of course last year as the champion. Even though the body of work he has put on display this year has, of course, been championship contending, if Honeycutt didn't win Richmond, I probably would not have him in second. Third is Layne Riggs' teammate, victorious in Daytona to start the season, and then, of course, a couple races ago in North Wilkesboro. You could tell me that either Riggs or Chandler Smith would be the 2026 Truck Series champ, and I would not wag a finger on that. Fourth, a guy that has been doing it quietly this year, and I really think is poised to make a great championship run, and that's Christian Eckes. He has the experience. He's been there in these tough postseason races for a Truck Series. Then fifth, Ty Majeski, Mr. Short Track. We know how dominant he can be, not only at the Truck Series, but of course at the super late model ranks. Has been tough sledding for Ty in the 88 this year. I do believe they can execute and put things together and be in the championship mix as the races count down. Then, right behind him, in the 6th spot, I have Ben Rhodes, 2-time champ. Then Gio Ruggiero. Ruggiero, I could have even put him above Majeski and Rhodes. The thing that I have Ruggiero lower, and that's just me, it's just the seat time. And not taking away from Gio's win at Talladega last year, for me, just need more results before I have more faith in the young Ruggiero. Then behind Ruggiero, another crafty veteran, just like Majeski and Rhodes, Grant Enfinger. Saw Grant win in Lime Rock of all places this year. The more I have watched this series, can't count out Enfinger. Now, for the final 2 spots in Splash of Gas power rankings for the final race of the Truck Series. 9th, this is where opinions could be different if they're not already. Stort Friesen ranked number 9th. I do believe Stort gets in the final 10th playoff spot over Tyler Ankrum, with Stort being a veteran, and also the results the Hallmar Friesen stable has been putting in not 1, 2, but now 3 entries. Christopher Bell, of course, Stort full time, and then you got Michael Christopher, who's starting to turn heads too. I think Stort is just going to have a rocket for these playoffs in the 52. Last and not least, Daniel Hemrick, another veteran. Daniel had a rough playoffs last year. Does the new format help him out? We will find out. But those are the 10 drivers I believe will make up the Truck Series playoff chase field. Now, paint scheme of the week. I just mentioned this driver. That is Grant Enfinger. One of Grant's sponsors for Richmond was none other than West Virginia University, WVU. And if you don't know me, I am a diehard Mountaineer fan. Super cool to see the flying WVU on a Truck Series car, and even cooler for a veteran like Grant to have it. And I did not know this, but the fueler for Enfinger's team was a lineman on the Mountaineers football team a couple years back. If you haven't seen that truck, please check that out. Now for NASCAR history time. More from Richmond. September 9th, 1973. The King, Richard Petty, continued his incredible dominance at the Richmond Fairgrounds, winning the Capital City 500 for his 7th consecutive victory at the track, a streak that stretched all the way back to the fall of 1970. Petty was nearly untouchable that day, leading 429 of the 500 laps in his famous 43 and finishing 2 laps ahead of Cale Yarborough. The victory was Petty's 13th career win at Richmond, a track where he of course remains the all-time winningest driver. Fast forwarding a little bit. April 27th, 2012. Kurt Busch delivered a memorable family victory at Richmond, holding off Denny Hamlin in a thrilling side-by-side battle on the final lap to win the Virginia 529 College Savings 250. Kevin Harvick dominated the early portion of the race, leading 158 of the first 166 laps. But Busch took control. After a late pit stop had appeared headed for an easy victory, Hamlin then had other ideas, closing in during the final laps and pulling alongside Busch. On the last lap, the two made slight contact coming off the final corner, but Busch held on to victory by a very slim margin, with Hamlin in second and Harvick in third. More importantly, the victory gave Kyle Busch Motorsports its first ever NASCAR O'Reilly Series win, making it, of course, a special night for the Busch family. Now we bring on our guest driver of the show, and that is O'Reilly Series driver Parker Retzlaff, who is gearing up for Daytona. We'll break down Iowa and his season so far. Really excited to bring Parker back on the show. Next driver we bring back on the Splash of Gas, driver of the 90 Chevy for Viking Motorsports on the NASCAR O'Reilly Series, is Parker Retzlaff. Thanks for coming back on the show again, Parker.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Last spoke to you after the P2 run in Atlanta at the end of February. You and the 99 team have been on a roll. Before we get into race specifics, this is your first year with Viking. What's it been race in, race out with this group?
Yeah, my first year with Viking, but it's also only the second year of them in business. So I think that doing what we're doing with such a new team from everyone involved is great. So I think it's just only better for the future.
For sure, yeah. Really can't wait to see what you guys can do. 2-3 years from now, the Viking group. But seems like things are really starting to click for you and the 99 team. The stretch from Darlington to Watkins Glen, 6 top 10s, and has having more consistent finishes towards the front. Given you more momentum and confidence.
Yeah, I think anytime that you can show up and know that you have a good group of guys behind you, and even good management, everyone who comes to the track, and I think that all comes from the top of our owner Don and general manager Jeremy, and I think just them putting people in good positions and having a group behind me every week that I know is putting their best effort forward and trying to be the best they can, and we can just continue to get better. So I think it gives you more confidence and makes you not worry as much about the stuff that they're in control of.
Gotcha. Got a good group in that corner for sure. No COTA didn't break your way this year. The 3 road courses after that, 7th at Watkins Glen, 5th in San Diego, and 7th again the next weekend in Sonoma. The race in Sonoma was the last road course of the season, but must have felt good to show strength on the road courses this year.
Yeah, I think me and Anthony both broke at COTA, and overall it just I think that we were a lot better than that, and it just it wasn't our day that day, and we both had an issue that was kind of a team-wide issue. We fixed it for the other road courses, and I think we showed speed, so that's another very big positive as well. But I think we had 2 very good cars for all those races.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, appreciate you touching upon that. Glad you guys were able to fix that. Definitely showed, in the 3 remaining road courses of the year. And mentioned San Diego, NASCAR, of course, racing on the Naval Air Base Coronado, in the base, the track, the racing. What was the whole experience for you?
Yeah, the Naval Base in San Diego was probably one of my favorite races of the year. It was a really cool track, I thought. The whole, everything, the whole event and the atmosphere of it was great. There was a lot of people that maybe didn't know a lot about the sport, but were willing to learn and interested. And I think the whole thing was just overall great. It was one of my favorite events of the year, and I really hope we go back.
Same here. As a fan, it was really awesome to watch on TV, and was super patriotic and some good racing as well. And getting into the recent action, 3 races ago, NASCAR returns to Atlanta. Of course, your P2 finish earlier there in the year. I'm sure you had this one circled on the calendar. You start 22nd, but work the 98 up pretty, up the field, 8th at the end of stage 2. Double overtime finish. What did you see there? And you come out with a P3 finish. I mean, how would you sum up your night last month in Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we were as good as we were in February at Atlanta, but overall, we just had to keep fighting. We were probably a 7th to 9th place car, and we even got some damage there in a wreck with, I think, 15 to go, and had to try and patch that up a little bit and started in the back, and then just, avoided all the chaos for the rest of the restarts in the race, and we're able to start the last restart 7th and come up 3rd. So another good day of just, the team not giving up, me not giving up, and just continuing to fight.
Appreciate the honesty, and yeah, the P3 finish there. On to the next one, then 11th in Indy, then right on the Corn Country in Iowa last weekend. I mean, P10th in qualifying. Of course, they're doing the repay for next year. Heard several of the drivers talk about the racing surface last weekend. Sounds like the old surface was pretty bumpy, and throughout the weekend saw several spin. I mean, as a driver, what's it like to run on that, I guess now old surface of Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, definitely you have to be in the new pavement now when we go to Iowa. If you enter too high and you get in the old pavement, there's no grip in it. There's a lot of marbles and dirt, it seems, up there. So there's nothing up there. You have to kind of be stuck to those 2 lanes, and I think that'll be the nice part once we they repave Iowa. At least the track will be a lot more even across it. Even if maybe the time isn't better, you'll still be able to go up there and try and make something work. So I mean, the last couple weeks have been okay for us. Just trying to get to Daytona and put the 99 in the playoffs.
Got it. Getting into more of the racing action from Iowa. Race does see a good amount of yellows. What was a long green flag run at during stage 3, and then double overtime finish. Number of cars collected in the first overtime restart. You come out P13th. I mean, how did you navigate those wrecks? I mean, how did you feel leaving Iowa? It seems like you're ready for Daytona, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think Iowa was somewhere we expected to be pretty good at, and I don't think we were as good. I think I led us down maybe a bad path and had a couple of issues that we should have worked on in practice and made our car a little bit better. But overall, we just had to try and keep ourselves in the safest position and try and take the positions that came to us. And that the last restart or 2 restarts to go when a couple cars wrecked in turn 1, it really helped us. I think we were 17th and then we ended up being 12th or 13th there to end the race. So, I mean, just had to keep fighting. I don't think it was our best race of the year, but definitely didn't give up.
Got it. A lot of fight in that 99 team, as you were just saying, and 2 off weekends leading into the regular season finale in Daytona before the chase starts in Darlington. And currently you're 9th in the point standings, and 12 drivers make the playoffs. And right now you're the first driver in the point standings that hasn't yet clinched into the chase. And of course, nothing's guaranteed. You said on your socials after Iowa, game on Daytona, assuming you're feeling pretty good when you'll be rolling into Daytona in 2 weekends.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to continue to do what we did all year. I don't really think we need to over-engineer it or do too much. We just have to go to Daytona and do the same thing, and hopefully we'll put the 99 in the playoffs and give all of our partners their first playoff experience.
There you go. Kind of a unique part of the schedule, having the 2 off weeks going into Daytona. I mean, as a competitor, with the way the playoffs are set, as we just were discussing, I mean, are you kind of, going stir crazy between these 2 off weekends, or how are you staying focused?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really doing too much. I think I'm just kind of hanging out at home with my girlfriend and just, doing whatever. We're not really doing too much. Like I said, I'm not now, I guess, more worried because we're coming into the last regular season race of the year, just trying to continue to do the same thing we've done and overall, I'm happy to get to Daytona and have, people behind me that I still have, and have the DEA and Funkaway and Freebird and Car Grill on the car for the last regular season race, and, continue to build the momentum into the playoffs.
Got it. A lot of good partners, as you just mentioned, in your corner as well. Of course, you just mentioned the bigger tracks, Daytona, Atlanta, Dega, as you know, anything can happen there. But in O'Reilly, and even a couple years ago on the Cup Series, you've shown out on the bigger tracks. I mean, don't want you to give up any secrets, but, even with the different teams, you still seem to get, towards the front of the drafts. I mean, how do you execute that in race?
Yeah, man, I think you just have to kind of go with your gut, and I try and maybe my big thing is not putting myself in a bad position or allowing somebody else to put me in a bad position. So, usually I'm not the most aggressive guy at super speedways, but just try and make sure you make it to stage 3 and make it to the end of those races, and be involved. I mean, anything can happen. Like you said, you can wreck running in the lead. You can wreck running 25th. It doesn't matter. You just got to try and make it to stage 3 and be involved.
Got it. Appreciate to see where your mind's at on that. Just mentioned Cup Series. Know you're 110% focused on this O'Reilly season. I've heard your name mentioned in some of the Cup seats that could be open between the next 2 off seasons. Any thoughts about full-time Cup racing?
If anyone who knows me knows I am not in any rush to go Cup racing right now. Like, I'm fully focused on 99 and what comes next year, and if a Cup opportunity comes available a couple years down the road, then that's perfect. And I'm in no rush to feel like I deserve or have done anything that I guess deserve being a Cup car yet. I still feel like I have stuff to prove down here, and I need to continue to get better and hopefully just keep building I guess myself and the confidence, and continue to get better before I go Cup racing.
Got it. Thank you for the honest answer. And just like we've been mentioning, of course, in good hands with Viking, but just wanted to ask that question and see where your mind is. We really do appreciate the response. And last question, as we've been mentioning, getting into the chase, one last race of the regular season. How are you going to get the 99, of course, into the chase and then contend for a championship?
Yeah, man, we're going to do this. Like I said, we're going to do the same thing we've done all year. We're going to, just make sure that we can make a stage 3 at Daytona, and then, go race for it. I think that's what you have to do. And, we probably need stage points, and we gotta try for that. And I think if we get some stage points in stage 1 or stage 2, then we should be locked in. So overall, just gotta do that, and then start working on the places that we've already been to in the playoffs, and try and build on those and get a little better through the playoffs, and see where we can put the Viking Motorsports number 99.
Heck yeah. Really can't wait for you to have those opportunities on track, and we'll be pulling for you in Daytona, and hope to see you there. And thank you so much again for the time, Parker.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yep, same here.
Always great to catch up with Parker. Appreciate his time. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 2. NASCAR veteran Steve Park has been named the honorary pace car driver of the Dollar Tree 301 at New Hampshire this Sunday. A winner in all 3 NASCAR Top Series and one of NASCAR's Wheel and Modified 40 Greatest Drivers will get behind the wheel of the Toyota Camry as he will pace the field of all 36 Cup Series cars on Sunday out at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Park went on to say, "I can't tell you how excited I am to be given the opportunity to be the pace car driver, a place where I have considered one of my home tracks in New England. New Hampshire Motor Speedway has given so many racers the opportunity to showcase talent from the New England area to many in the NASCAR world and let drivers like myself live their dream to make a career in NASCAR. Seems like Steve is pumped up to get back behind the wheel. Of course, it will be the pace car. Great to see Steve Park back at the track." Next topic. The last year from the old playoff system into the current one back to the chase have been vocal about the pros and the cons, the likes and dislikes. Of course, we'll get more into it and peel the onion back, but here's just my starting point. With the winning you're in, it did make it super exciting. It made the races exciting to watch with the playoff implications, but as a season, a book of work for each driver, building, of course, the points, the way the point system is, and building that for the regular season, and then not just the winning you're in. Like, for an example, when Joey Logano got his first win a number of races ago, I think he was still somewhere like 13th or 12th in the standings. And yes, he'd been struggling at that point, gets a win. But the way the point system is set up, like, I'm so used to a guy winning a race and then seeing him, in the point standings clinched, locked into the 16 group of the playoffs. And I think that was just really a breath of fresh air, that a driver has to earn his way, not just one race. And there was negatives, of course, but I did think there was positives with the old system, and that's what made it exciting for me. A race, man, you could have a guy, 30th in points win, and wow, he's in the playoffs. And it's kind of stupid to say, but the way the point system is, now, like, each race, I'm paying attention to the guys on the bubble and knowing that even if they win, of course, that's going to give them an advantage, but that doesn't lock in. I mean, there's, right now, with 2 regular season races left, 7 drivers locked in on points right now. And to be honest, one of the negatives of the old system was getting to the end of the regular season, and the last race of the regular season has been recently Daytona. What happens at Daytona? Anything can happen. So you have a driver that's, 14th, 15th, 16th on the point standings, doesn't have that win with the old system, and maybe he is more deserving than a guy that's back in the points and has a good plate race and gets in. And from the old system to the new one, I believe that is one of the fixes that the new system does provide. Let's keep chugging along and silly season talk on the O'Reilly side. Well, kind of Cup side too. Josh Berry, we know he's not coming back to the 21 Wood Brothers Cup car next year. Jesse Love, it's been announced, is going to take that seat. So where does Josh go next? Josh, we know he can win in the O'Reilly level, and we know he can win on the Cup level. A different argument for a different day, but looking at next season, I think Josh Williams compared to Jesse Love, yes, Jesse's a rookie coming into the sport, but I think Josh would give you a better opportunity at better results. And then, like I said, a different argument for a different day. But where does Josh Berry go for 2027 and on? Yes, we know how strong and dominant he is on the super late model side of things. I don't think he goes from Cup down that big of a jump, right? I still think he can, say if he's not able to get a full-time Cup seat for 2027, which the way it looks like, I mean, maybe Josh Berry gets picked up by Colleague Racing for one of their seats, but I don't think that is going to happen. I do think something that is more probable than that is a homecoming with him going back to junior motorsports. I think that is realistic. Kind of seeing his relationship with Dale Jr., of course, and Jr. speaking, still so highly of Josh Berry. And Josh Berry, like I said, I still think he deserves a spot in the Cup Series, but it's highest competitive form of motorsports, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I do think Josh is full-time in the O'Reilly Series. I think that's going to happen with Junior Motorsports. When I heard that rumor, I, totally can see that happening, and I'm sure Josh having the support, I'm assuming still from Bass Pro and so on, and those sponsors with Junior, I can see Josh getting that opportunity. And the way Junior Motorsports is going right now, and Berry having success with them in the past, of course, that's going to be a championship car if that's what happens. Nonetheless, that's all talk right now. We'll see how things play out for Berry. Last topic on DWD, more silly season news, and Daniel Dye, more races announced for him. Dye will run 4 races of the remaining schedule of the O'Reilly Series for this season, and he'll be running the 32 Chevy for Jordan Anderson Racing. It'll be Daytona, Darlington, Talladega, and Martinsville. The way the season started for Daniel Dye, being one of the full-time truck drivers for Colleague Racing, he leaves, and the opportunities that he's gotten since then, making Cup Series starts. Dye ran last season full-time for Colleague in the O'Reilly Series, so plenty of seat time there. And Jordan Anderson, at Talladega, Daytona, of course, is going to be a competitive car. Jeb Burton has won Dega in one of the Jordan Anderson Chevys and is competitive at those bigger tracks. And then, of course, hindsight's 2020, right? But Daniel Dye in his rearview mirror, the way things are going for Colleague and Ram, I don't see how Dye could. All the learning curves of a new team, a new manufacturer. Could Daniel Dye, if he stayed with Colleague and Ram, have better points than Butterbean Queen? I don't think so. I do think Dye, the way things broke off for him, think he's better off in the long run. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Coming to the end of this episode, now is time for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, September 7th, 1995, was the first NASCAR Truck Series race at Richmond. Who won that race? The answer is in the number 5 Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, none other, Terry Labonte. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Like I said to start the episode, so much content from Richmond. We have 2 episodes this week. You just heard our interview with O'Reilly Series driver Parker Retzlaff. For episode number 2 this week, we talk with Cup Series driver Cole Custer. Stay tuned for that. Splash of Gas out.